Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All Educational Videos channel. In this video today we are going to try to learn how and when to use GameMaker Studio to drag and drop action block, which is called set health. In last few videos I've explained some action blocks which are very useful for beginner programmers, and they are already made for you to use almost by default, by instant, from GameMaker programmers, the guys who made the game engine. So those action blocks include score, health, lives, and so on, and you will probably need those in your games often. You need some object to for score, one for health, one for lives, and so on, or one to gather all that information, but more or less you're going to use them often. And the good thing is that they are very similar in terms of how to use them, and they are not very hard to learn. So as you can see, we have learned score, and now we are starting with health, and you can see the same pattern here: get score, set score, get health, and now we will have set health. So it's always get and set, and after that we will go with get and set lives. So everything you learn for one action block works with other, and so on. And in our game I was using score and health so far to show the health and score on the screen, and the score can be changed. You can see it in the top left. If I collect the coins, which give every coin gives me 5 score points. So that's it for score, but for the health we don't have anything yet. We just have 0 health so far, and we added get health. So get and set, the difference between get and set in terms of what they do is that get gets the score for you. It's like asking the game maker to give you the score, like what is the score. So game maker gives you the score. We use that when we want to know what is the score, what is the health number, what is the lives number, and so on. And when we use that variable and the action block, it's not all finished. You have to use some kind of draw action block. I have used draw value, but I think there is one more specific for it. We will learn that later. So when I get the score, when I ask the score from the game maker, that's not finished. If I want to show it on the screen like I did it in my game, I have to use draw value, and that's all cool. But the other problem is that that only gets the value for me. If I want to change that value, I have to use another block, which is set. So again, I will have one for set health, one for set score, set lives, set health. So every action block, health, score, and lives, which is made for us from GameMaker programmers already, will have 2 options: get and set. And that is not only used in GameMaker. If you try to learn some other programming languages or syntax for some other programming languages, you will sooner or later you will see that they use some kind of get and set functions on their own. That's another topic and more complex, but it works more or less the same. When you want to pull out some information, you use get, give me, get me, and when you want to change some information, you use set, like set this to some value. In our previous example, we have set the score with the coin, so you can use the set. Here we have used it with coin and set the score from the coin to change the score on our game manager. So that was one example of the real world programming, and today we are going to, I think this will be shorter, and I have made already intro already long enough, but today I'm going to use this set score in another kind of example. If you have seen a few moments ago when I start the game, my score is 0, which is cool. That's how the score works. When you start the game, score should be 0, like in a football game, basketball game, a baseball game, or so on. That makes sense, but it doesn't make sense that the health is 0 for our player. In most of the games, the health bar, the health maximum is set to 100, like 100%, 100 health points and so on. So we will use that same analogy and the same number, 100 as max. But how to change it? So we currently have 0, that's default, like for score, and every this variable or variable which you make will have 0 as default for numbers. um, but we want to change that. I want to set my health to 100, and where do I want to do that? We have added some obj manager game object, which is a no sprite attached object, so there is no sprite, no graphics on it, and it's like a manager, like a controller for the whole game. So when you start the game, this manager will look from the top, from above, on whole game, and like check what is the score, change the score, what is the health, and so on. That's the idea for this game, at least for now. Maybe we will change it later, but that kind of approach is useful for more complex programming, and it's used in everyday game development. So it's not something irrelevant, but completely opposite. That's something which you will use later for more complex games. So I want to my obj manager to check the score, so it makes sense that I add some kind of code on it to set the score again. But when do I want to not score but the health, but when do I want to add health to my game? Do I want to add it on the start? I think yes. So when my game starts and when my obj game manager starts, that means I need create event, because this is the event which is started first in GameMaker Studio. As its name says, create. When you create something, do something else. So I'm going to add event create, as I just did, and then I'm going to try to find set score. I know it's already here, not score again, my bad. Set health, I think that's, yeah, set health. That's what we're going to learn today. So and as you can see, by default again it's 0. That's how programming works in GameMaker and other game engines mostly. So health is 0, and do I want that in my game? Nope, I want it 100. And as I said, I'm adding it to create to obj game manager, because that's the object which shows the text on the screen for the score and for the health so far. So I need to change this to 100 for my game. You can change it to whatever you want for your game. And I don't need relative here, because I'm not going to change it here in create event. Create event is triggered only once when you start the game, and that's it. That value will be saved until you change it later. So I will start the game now, and let's see. I think now it will say health is 100. I hope so. Yeah, it works. So in this video I am not going to don't worry, I'm not going to bother you many for longer in this video, since I wanted to show some kind of other approach. It's not other approach, it's just another example of real world, how you have to set values for your game, for everything you use in your game: score, health, lives, enemies, number of enemies, number of coins, and so number of players. So it's very tedious work and lots of work to do, but it's how games are made. So even some of this stuff which is boring and repeated from time to time, you have to do it. So this is one of those uh, coding exercises, or call it whatever you want, which is good for you to just as a real world example. So you need to set the health for your player. So where you do it in my game in OBJ Manager, in create event, just set the health to 100, and then in draw event, which is done like 30 or 60 times per second, like step event, it's this value is drawn and on the screen, and this value is get score, give me the score, draw it, get health, and draw health. So that's it. And yeah, it's funny how get where it works fine, but I'm a little bit confused how he knows automatically what the variable is for health. Anyway, this is one example how to use it. Another couple of examples could be, for example, if I made some kind of food here on the game scene, like some kind of food which gives health to my player, I can make it like a coin. Only make it, for example, instead of yellow, you can do it yourself. You can do this as some kind of homework for your game, or just a test to see if you have learned this stuff which I was explaining earlier. So instead of coin, just copy this OBJ coin, change the sprite from yellow for coin into red for example apple, and change this set score and instead change it to set health. So make apple gives 20 or 15 health, or whatever you think is right. And for example, you can also make one item which takes away health. I don't know what that can be. You can for example use these red triangles as enemy to try to make those take away 10 or 15 health from the player when they collide with it. So that could be another exercise of one. For example, object apple can give you health, and another enemy object can take away health from you, and so on. So again, this is a real world game development in terms of ideas, coding, and so on. So it's just I'm trying just to show you how you can use the same action block, the same code for different stuff, for different objects, for different ideas, and to solve different problems. Okay, again, too long, but that's it. 13 minutes so far. Bye for now, and see you in a next video.